Okay, here we go. We are going to flat toe Snazzy all the way to Tennessee TrailJam 2023. Let's go for the ride. Now, it was about an 11-hour trip from our place all the way to Lorette Lynn Ranch. That's right, we stayed on property where the event was being held. Over 500 acres of campground. We flat-toed Snazzy with the stock tires through the 35s in the back and made it there. And it was nice. There wasn't full hookups where we were, but we had water and electric, which was more than enough to run the air conditioner because it was hot. Now, we got there a few days early, so we went and did our own thing for a little bit, but then it was time for the event. Let's throw some 35s on Snazzy. Now, those tires stacked up there all week. Everybody wanted to buy them, but they weren't for sale. Now, Lorette Lynn Ranch hosted this event, and everything was on almost everything was on property. And all of the events were run by Topless in Tennessee. And y'all, these people combined put the most amazing event on. We had a great time. So the first event was a Wednesday night. It was a parade, a glow parade through downtown Waverly. So we took the doors and top off of Snazzy and we ran LED strip lights around it. I just used the hot glue gun and threw little tabs on and mounted them. Everything went on. This was my first time. It actually turned out really good. It turned out so good, I didn't take any video of Snazzy all lit up, but trust me, if you're going to be in a parade, LED strip lights for the win. Once we got down there, everybody was decorating their Jeep. And it ranged from bubbles and roof inflatables to glow sticks and lights, Christmas lights, all kinds of stuff. It was cool. It was a great kickoff to the event. Now, we heard from the event organizer that the kids in downtown Waverly said the Jeep parade was better than the Christmas parade. I call that a win. The next morning, we all headed to the mandatory driver meeting.
We'll let everybody get in here. I see a bunch of people still coming in, so we'll let everybody get in here and we'll go through this super fast. And we'll get you guys out on the trails today.
We had a little extra time, so we hit all of the vendors the first day. And they had Steinjager, Ruck Rack, Quake LED, Slobber Squad. Never seen them before. That was pretty neat. Even Metal Cloak was there with the CTI trailer. So if you wanted to spend some money, there was ample opportunity to get your wallet out. The event's main focus was a drawing for all kinds of prizes. Everybody donated stuff from Midland radios to winch packages, gift cards for different businesses so that they could raise money for the child advocacy group of that county. And they typically raise about $30,000 to $40,000 a year. So kudos on them. So between all the events going on, the trails being open from like 9 o'clock until 7 o'clock at night, and the vendor show, nothing ever had a lot of people at it. So you could go do whatever you wanted and kind of feel like you're the only one there. Now, that wasn't the case at all. There were tons of people at every event we went to, and there were always people walking around at the vendor show, and there were always people on the trails. So if you've never seen the CTI trailer in action, here's a close-up. It's great. They throw it up there, they walk around, show you places that are problems, and then they give you a little coupon code to go spend some money with them. Pretty cool. Now to the trails. Now, these trails are all on the property, and they are cut from motocross trails, horse riding trails, and Jeep-specific trails. And they're all marked. Everything's one way. It was awesome. These are not like, if you like rocks, they had some sections like that. We stayed on the yellow. There was green, yellow, and red sections. We didn't hit any red trails because, Daddy's got to drive this to work the next day. But all the yellow trails were great. Nice trail rides, a couple of technical sections, a lot of tree dodging. But, that's part of wheeling on the East Coast. It was pretty neat. After a little trail riding, it was time for our first event that we signed up for, and that was a distillery tour ride. So we all met in the lower parking lot at the entrance, and then we all drove down to the distillery, which was right down the street, and we had a really good time. They charged $10 at the distillery for a tasting, gave you a little tour afterwards, and here's our experience.
It's strawberry lemonade moonshine mixed with cranberry juice.
You got this.
Plus,
No, ma'am. Take it.
peach mango V8 splash and peach moonshine.
I'm getting two different
Splash without the veggies.
Keep going. You didn't even get any
Oh, why
yet.
did that one get me? Oh, God.
Yeah, being this far in, you should be used to that.
My throat's like closing up. Maybe
Totally should have drank the other one.
Okay, so once you're finished, feel free to go put your push pin in the door, and then we're going to hang over and do the tour.
Yeah, what was this one?
Fruit punch and red, kids red and white punch.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So you get the sugar.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's okay. Just with the oh, man.
So that was worth $10. We met some really cool folks down there, and you know, we're all Jeepers, so it worked out. Then we went back and played on the obstacle course a little bit and did the teeter-totter, and teeter-totter was fun. I didn't quite master that one yet, but maybe next time. Then we had the bright idea of going through the mud. Well, I had the bright idea of going through the mud pit, and I got stuck twice. But I did get some good video out of it. Does your wife love you this much? So after she took one for the team, I took her down to the creek so she could wash off a little bit. The rocks were not pleasant to walk on, so I even got her sandals. But that was a good time. Ugh. I hate mud. I don't know why the heck I did that. And this wasn't mud, this was like pottery clay that will never come off. Super. Then it was time for the glow ride, and they took you out on the trails at night, and you got to drive your Jeep all lit up. And it was just green trails, it wasn't very hard, because look at, I'll bet you they had like 110 Jeeps on this thing. It was crazy. We just had this one out and just watched the parade go by. It was fun. Now, as you can see, this is a good old boy event, for sure. There are more TJs than there are JLs and Gladiators. Now there's a fair share of that too, but there's even some ZJs, WJs. There was a Scrambler rolling around, a couple of CJs. This was cool. We had a great time just looking at Jeeps. If you are a Jeep fan, this was a great event to go to, because all week long there were events like this where it was just a parade of Jeeps. On to day 2.
Morning. How many here is your first day here, or first time here? First day? Just a handful. I'm gonna make this relatively brief for you.
So here's another event put on by Topless Tennessee, the Hill Climb. It was a timed event, and actually, the guys with the little tires, they did the best. But anyway, they had V8s going up this thing, screaming up it, and it was cool. Now this was the second of 3 events. We had an obstacle course timed event, this was a timed event, and then the mud pit timed event. And you could compete in all 3 to win the Triple Crown, or each event had its own winner, and they gave out trophies for everything, and the trophies were top notch. Now to the mud pit. Now there were over 200 kids registered to come to TrailJam, and they had events just for them too, like the mud pit race for the kids. Little ones, little bigger ones, and then the big kids ran through the mud pit. and they got prizes and awards for doing it. It was definitely a family event. And then it was time for the big boys to run through it. Now, I love going to events that have a big audience like this, because everybody gets into it, and this was no different. There were people in lawn chairs, foldy chairs, there were bleachers off to us, there were people behind us sitting on top of their Jeeps watching this stuff. It made it for a very pleasant experience. And the people that weren't running through the mud pit, they were having just as good a time as the people running through it. Now, the Jeepers in the mud pit did not disappoint. They put on a great show. And it was time for my favorite event, the downhill Barbie Jeep race, where grown people, men and women, stuff themselves in the Barbie Jeeps and go down a hill. Now, the Jeepers did not disappoint. They made the event funny, but I'll tell you the real secret to the success of everything was the sound system at this event, that you could hear the DJ, the MC, from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill. And this was the same thing at the hill climb and the mud bog, the obstacle course. These people know how to put an event on. They know how to get the crowd into it, and it's 100% family friendly. And if all that's not enough, in the pavilion at night, they would have concerts. Like legit paid bands. They were both really good, and they would play for like 2.5 hours. And then afterward, if you wanted to stick around, they would do karaoke till like 3 o'clock in the morning. But y'all, I was parked right next to this stuff in the campground, and I didn't hear none of it. I passed out. So definitely a family-friendly event. The Lorette Lynn Ranch hosting a Jeep event, 5 stars. The property was amazing. Tennessee TrailJam staff, which included the management property of Lorette Lynn Ranch, which is mostly family, and Topless in Tennessee, the volunteers, fantastic. They have the equipment to put on this event. They have the facility to do it. They had food trucks. You didn't even have to cook if you didn't want to. There were people in tents, RVs, full-blown motorhome, Class C, Super Cs, everything you can imagine, parked at this event for the week. Now, we got there on a Sunday, and the trails and stuff really didn't open until Thursday. The event started Wednesday night. So, we tooled around and did some Memphis stuff and just hung out at the campground. Y'all, they got a creek that flows around the outside of this thing. You get hot, you go stick your feet in the creek, or whole body. I mean, wow. I cannot wait. I will definitely be going back to Tennessee TrailJam next year when they have it. Unfortunately, it was time to start heading home. So we missed the Saturday evening awards ceremony where they handed out the most amazing trophies for things like coolest mall crawler and the Triple Crown winner. So hopefully next year we can stay a little later, but that 11-hour drive was calling our name. I would say if you're within 15 hours of this event, I would plan on attending. We had a really good time. Go anywhere, do anything.